Welcome to the third video demonstrating the gameplay in the game Order and Opportunity, making of the post-Cold War world order. Now I'm going to show you how a turn of play works when you're using a non-player opponent. So, as you will remember from the previous videos, I'm playing my side, the Russians, together with my bloc partner, the Chinese, against the bloc of the democratic powers, the United States and the EU. The US, it's the US turn, so we move the US cylinder down onto the action phase track, down here on the bottom right, and again proceed to draw a development card. And this time we get one of those so-called place and discard events. This is basically this is simply placed onto the map as it is indicated on the card. Placed in a free event slot in Africa. Well, both event slots in Africa are free. These are the slots down here at the bottom of the screen, and so we just simply place the card in there. What this means is now the event card is available for any power, any side in the game to engage with, as detailed on the card. We move onwards to the opportunity step. So let's see, has the US positioned themselves to resolve any opportunities during this turn? They have not. I don't see any level 2 influence anywhere on the map, so no effect on that step. And then so we go to command. So, and when you're playing a non-player side, you simply, pretty similar to the minor powers as I showed during the previous video, you go and draw simply 3 cards, drop them onto the map. Non-players, they don't have to pay or be subject to any consequences, so we just ignore the suits of the cards for that purpose. And we just start playing the cards from the top. So the first thing, however, is to check whether the bot has, or the non-player rather, I should say, has drawn any suits, any cards of a given suit. Sorry, whether the non-player has drawn 2 cards or more of a given suit. They have indeed 2 cultural cards, and then we check on the map whether the US is in the position to resolve any world events. World events are these half-size cards here. That is not the case either. If it was the case, then the US would simply spend those 2 cards to resolve the world event, but that's not the case. So we proceed to playing those cards. And now we play the first card. We look at, when you're doing it for the non-player, you just look at the suit. And here in the play aids window, there's a solo aid, and corresponding to the suit, you then execute the priorities. The priorities for this suit, say first we're looking at executing the international condemnation neutral event, which happens to be actually here on the map. And the US will execute it if it would shift the War of Ideas track in the favor of democracies, which I don't think will be the case. Rather, it would actually shift it in my favor, so in the favor of the authoritarians, so the US will definitely not do that. Let's see, next option is place an alignment. Okay, so this is interesting. So during the first turn, the US non-player US already got 2 alignment, so-called alignment placing cards onto the map. I've put them here next to the US player mat. And now basically we're looking for spaces on the map where US has 2 or more levels of influence, and which is only the case here, but I'm outnumbering them, so I'm blocking them from placing any alignments. So we just skip that step as well. And next one is increase the world order if it's at 1 or 2. Well, it is indeed, because I, during the previous Chinese turn, dropped the US and the EU contributions down 1 level each. So US will just simply spend the first cultural card to increase their world order by 1. That's good. I did that intentionally to force that. Okay, so that's 1 card played. Then here comes the second card. It's another cultural action card. So we go back to the play aid. We go through the same list as before, but now we actually get all the way down to the 4th priority, which is place tension or civil society in the case of the democracies, and they will place it in a space where there already is one if there's choice, or then place randomly when they're able. Well, there's already 1 here placed by the EU non-player in an earlier turn, so the US will simply increase that marker to 2 levels. And notice that the non-players never pay any space selection cost, so that's why I'm not doing anything with the resource markers. And then finally we play the last card, which is an economic action card, and per the solo play aid, I know that they are first looking to play simply economic influence, and the procedure here is I roll the die to select a random region. So you see each region here on the map is associated with the die roll value. Europe, for instance, is 1, America is 2, and so on. So I'm going to just roll the die and see what we get. We get a 4, which is Africa. And then the priority is they will place, with the economic influence card, they will place economic influence in a space with either a world event or an opportunity that can be potentially resolved with that type of influence. And indeed, here in West Africa, we have emerging markets, which the counter indicates can be resolved with economic influence. So the US will simply drop 1 piece in there. This label here indicates that the US is, for placement purposes, adjacent to West Africa, or has a special connection there, so they will be able to do this placement. If the same situation had obtained, say, in Central and East Africa, where US is not present and doesn't have any special connection there, so they could not have placed any influence there for the time being. And then finally, we treat the cards that have been played according to certain rules. So here is another alignment placing card, which we simply drag onto the side, onto the US player mat, and during a future turn they might use that card. This is a little rules exception that the non-players get. And then, like a regular power and a player side, the US gets to place 1 of the cards played onto the map for free. The rule here is for the non-players that they will seek to place it in the region in which they played the corresponding action. They did the economic action here, so they will place this card into the slot over there. With that, Africa is full, so to speak. And so we discard the last played card, and that was the command step. So we go into planning and discard, except that in the case of non-players, nothing happens during those steps. So that is the end of the US turn.